section 3 of IELTS listening. You are familiar about it. Here normally 2 to 3 speakers speak. You have to listen the conversation and then answer the questions. In today's session, we will discuss three important types of IELTS listening questions: sentence completion, classification, and signpost language. I collect some tips about all these three question types. So, first of all, we will discuss those tips. Then I have some practice question. Then we will practice those questions. So, first of all is sentence completion. It's most important type of IELTS listening question.
IELTS listening tips for sentence completion questions. Read the instructions carefully. Make sure you understand what is required of you in the sentence completion question. Check how many words you are allowed to use and if the words should be in singular or plural form.
Okay, so I think it was a simple tip. Just read the instruction carefully, and I think you all understand it. Second tip is skim the question.
Skim the question before the recording starts. Quickly read through the sentence completion question so that you have an idea of what to listen for.
So you understand what this sentence is saying. Just to read the questions and make an idea about what these questions are. It's called skim the question. Just roughly read the questions before start of the audio. Okay, so third one is focus on the context.
Focus on the context. Listen carefully to the sentences before and after the gap. The missing word or phrase should fit in with the context of the sentence.
Focus on the flow of sentence. If you understand about what the larynx is going on, about what the speakers are saying, you can find that which phrase is missing. So you should focus on the scenario about what they are talking. Another tip is use your own words. So read it. What?
Okay, so use your own words. When you hear the missing word or phrase, try to paraphrase it in your head before writing it down. This will help you to remember it more easily.
Okay, when you guess which word can be its answer, so its missing word or its phrase is going in your mind, and when you listen that word in audio, then you pick that word very quickly. So another tip is check for grammar and spelling. It's very much important. If you do any mistake, if you find the correct answer, but you do a grammar or spelling mistake, it will lose your marks. So another one is don't leave any gaps.
Don't leave any gaps. If you are unsure of the answer, make an educated guess. You will not lose marks for incorrect answers, so it's better to write something than leave a blank space.
You understand what it is saying?
Yes.
Yeah, it's very easy. Instead of leaving a blank question, you can put educated guess. Whatever you think, you should fill all the questions. Don't leave any question unanswered. Listen for clue. This is another tip. Read it.
Hey,
Yeah.
listen for clues. Listen out for any clues in the recording that might help you to complete the sentence. This could be a synonym, an antonym, a definition, or an example.
So listen for clue mean you should listen about what the speaker is saying, and it's like a type of educated guess. And the last one is practice. So making tips is not.
You're going to hear a conversation between a university professor and a student about an assignment. Thank you for seeing me at such short notice, Professor Barrett.
Oh, it's no trouble, Emma. Students often want to meet with me at this time in the semester. I gather from your email that you need some advice on your assignment. You chose the child development topic, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. After your comments on my first draft last week, I'm worried I'm on completely the wrong track, and I need to do well. You know, I won't pass this module unless I manage to get a distinction in this essay.
The first question, the answer is child development. And the second question, answer is distinction.
Development and second is distinction. Okay, so let's see. Wow, you are right. Your both answers are correct. Excellent. What's your name? Who answered these two questions?
My name is Abida.
Okay, thank you. So, in such type of in section 3, you have to listen different speakers. So you have to identify their tune, that which one is saying which things. There are 2 to 3 speakers, so you should develop a skill to understand which speaker is saying which. In section 3, normally 2 to 3 speakers are speaking, so you have to identify which one is speaking. So to identify the speaker, this is a short practice. We listen the audio and you should understand who is speaking. There are 4 persons. You have to identify which one is speaking.
Well, there's constructivism, where children have to learn about the world around them. But hasn't that theory been superseded? I mean, I didn't think I needed to mention it, because it's been proved wrong.
So it was Emma, it was Professor Barrett, Annie, or Robert. Who was speaking? What you guess from the audio?
Well, there's constructivism, where children have to learn about the world around them. But hasn't that theory been superseded? I mean, I didn't think I needed to mention it, because it's been proved wrong.
So what you think? It was a student or it was a professor? I think it was a professor. Oh, it was not a professor. So
I think it was Emma.
how you guess it was Emma? Just listen it again.
Well, there's constructivism, where children have to learn about the world around them. But hasn't that theory been superseded? I mean, I didn't think I needed to mention it, because it's been proved wrong.
Okay, it was Emma voice. So we are going to listen it again in next question. So you have to guess who is speaking now. There are 4 names. You should have to listen to the audio.
Well, it was about goals. If your goals are not well defined, you tend to choose tasks which give you immediate satisfaction because they're less effort.
So it's a male voice.
Professor.
It's Robert.
Professor.
I think it was the professor.
It's Robert.
It was Robert. Okay.
How we
so-
can know this is Robert? Because this audio is part of the previous video.
Yes, it's part of previous video, and now you listen the 2 voices, and you should understand that the first voice was Emma voice, and second male voice was Robert voice.
Well, it was about goals. If your goals are not well defined, you tend to choose tasks which give you immediate satisfaction because they're less effort.
Okay, so now we are going to listen another audio, and you have to identify which one is speaking.
Yeah, I've done some reading, and I've already decided what I want to do.
Okay.
I know.
Anne.
Yeah.
Wow, good. So there is another audio. So you have to identify. You have listened the audio of Emma, Anne, and Robert. So let's see who is speaking now.
Oh, you mean the idea that something still exists even when you can't see it?
Okay, who was she?
Emma again.
Yeah, from. So you have to identify the voice after listening the ones that who is speaking. Okay, there is another audio, so you have to identify which one is speaking.
Really? So you could appreciate the lecturer's example of the student constantly switching between assignments.
So who is she?
It's Anne.
Who is she?
Anne.
Okay, let's see. Wow, you're right. It was M. Okay, there is another audio. You have to identify among these 4 persons who was speaking.
Well, the one thing I did notice is that you've left out the most recent research in this field.
Okay, who was he?
Professor.
Yeah, we listen him first. Okay,
Professor.
yeah, we have listened the four voices. We have to identify which one.
Now, another important aspect of this topic is the concept of object permanence.
So who was he? Robert or
Robert.
okay.
Robert, I think.
So you were wrong. It was I think Professor. It was.
Now, another important aspect of this topic,
Why this professor, sir?
object permanence. Now, another important aspect.
Actually, you have to identify the voice. In previous one, it was Professor. So listen, previous voice.
Well, the one thing I did notice is that you've left out the most recent research in this field.
So here he was saying one thing, and here he was saying another thing. So it's the same person.
Now, another important aspect of this topic is the
Now you understand it was the same person.
Okay.
Professor, yeah. So I think it's the last one. Let's listen it. Who is he?
I've got a real problem in this area.
That's
Something
Robert.
to do for me, and I can't decide where to start.
Yeah, it's clearly different
Robert.
from the professor. Voice is clearly different. Okay, so such skills develop with the passage of time. You need practice, and you have to understand that who is speaking. Okay, so next, I think we have practice of recognition skills, opinion, and attitude. So here you have to listen the conversation and then recognize what they are saying, what's their opinion, what's their attitude about what they are talking in the audio. So as always, I told you, you have to read the questions quickly, first of all, and then think what can be its answer. So here question is, Professor Barrett's opinion is that Emma. So the professor's opinion about Emma. So you have to find the opinion of professor about Emma. So just listen the audio. What?
The main problem is that you've chosen to address only one part of the current debate on the topic. The main problem is that you've chosen to address only one part of the current debate on the topic.
So which one is answer?
Second option.
Second needs to add more about the topic.
Okay. Wow, you're right. Okay, so in next. So first of all, you should read the question quickly, then think what can be its answer before listening the audio. Emma's response is that. What's Emma's response? She believes she has done enough. She agrees that she should add more. So let's listen it.
Well, I summarised the nativist belief that children have an instinctive understanding of the laws of nature.
So which one is answer?
She believes she has done enough. She believes she
Wow,
has
you
done
are
enough.
right. Yeah, you're right. Okay, another question. Read the questions quickly before going to listen the audio.
Yes, you did, and that was well written. But if you look at the essay question, you were asked to evaluate different theories. Yes, you did, and that was well written. But if you look at the essay question, you were asked to evaluate different theories.
Evaluate different theories.
Yeah, this the first one.
Yeah,
A is right
but
and from good night.
Explain why it is
Yeah,
not.
Why it is
yeah,
not enough.
he was saying
yeah,
it's
yeah,
enough, but need more. So
Yes,
right.
and that was well
Indeed.
written. But if you look at the essay question, you are asked to evaluate different theories.
but it's not enough. She has to evaluate different theories. See the next question. Listen, read the question quickly and listen the audio carefully.
I didn't think I needed to mention it because it's been proved wrong.
But neither of the two schools of thought has been accepted without doubt. They are both still theoretical.
I didn't think I needed to mention it because it's been proved wrong.
But neither of the two schools of thought has been accepted without doubt. They are both still theoretical.
So A or B, which one is correct?
B, yeah.
Yeah, he was saying that theoretically are not correct. Okay, so read the questions quickly and then think what can be, what device can be, what the audio can be about it.
Oh, I see. So I should add something about constructivism. Oh, I see. So I should add something about constructivism.
Okay, so which one is, it was saying about which one, A or B?
A,
Oh, I see. So I
see.
should add something about constructivism.
Yeah, I think
A, yeah, understand, I see.
it's A. You're right, Linda, you were right. Okay, so there is another question. Barrett thinks Imma's suggestion is a good one. Imma's suggestion needs to be changed. So let's listen to the audio.
I think it would be wise to do so.
I think it will be wise. Is A?
I think
He
it would
said
be wise
it's
to do so.
will be wise. Yeah, A. It's
Was
a good.
A. Okay. So opinion. So you should read the questions and then find its answer from the audio.
Oh, you mean the idea that something still exists even when you can't see it?
Yes, that was well done. You had a nice explanation of that. So make sure you keep that.
Okay, it's A or B. I think it
B?
was easy. Yes, I was saying it's okay. Okay, so read the question quickly before audio is going to be played.
Well, the one thing I did notice is that you've left out the most recent research in this field.
Oh, I thought Bilargium was the most up-to-date.
Well, the one thing I did notice is that you've left out the most recent research in this field.
Oh, I thought Bilargium was the most up-to-date.
Okay, so which one is the right option?
Surprise. I thought
It was A. It is A or
it's
B?
not surprise. A.
A. I think it's B. Why I think it's B? It is surprised at Professor Barrett's comment. Professor was saying you didn't use the recent references, but she was surprised because she think that she used the recent references.
Well, the one thing I did notice is that you've left out the most recent research in this field.
Oh, I thought Bilargium was the most up-to-date.
So professor was saying you didn't use the recent, but she is saying that I use up to date, means I use the recent ones.
Well, the one thing I did notice is that you've left out the most recent research in this field.
Oh, I thought Bilargium was the most up-to-date.
So he was saying you didn't use the recent research, and she was saying that you used the up to date. Up to date means she was surprised about his comments because he used the up to date information, and professor is saying it's not recent research. So the answer was B. Okay, so it's a skill which develops with practice. You should practice the listening test. So I normally share one listening test daily. It drops, so you should practice to polish your skills. Okay, next one.
Now, the last point about the content of the essay is that your bibliography needs to be more complete.
Yes, I was expecting that.
It's already expecting us. It means it's not surprised.
Exactly, you're right. So we did some tips about sentence completion and then we did some practice questions about sentence completion. Another important type is classification. So now we are going towards the questions about classification. Sometimes questions come which are about classification. So it's same like other. To do the classification question, you should read the task carefully about what they are saying, read the questions, what term and condition they are saying, 2 words or 3 words, read the statement. While you listen, notice the different speakers and their attitude and opinion, what they are saying, and read the instruction, what they are saying about letter, word, number, whatever it's written, in which way you should respond, you should do them like this. So the tips about these questions, first tip is read the instruction carefully, which is very important. Second one is look for keywords. Linda, can you read these sentences?
Okay. Look for keywords. Listen carefully for words that indicate the category or type of information being presented. For example, words like types, kinds, categories, groups, or characteristics may indicate that the need to classify information.
So you should put attention to the words for those the speaker is focusing. So look for keyword is speaker is saying about groups. So your attention to find the things which are talking about groups, or if it's types, so pay attention more to the types when they speak about different types. Another tip is use headings and subheadings. Birna, read it.
Use headings and subheadings as you listen. Create a rough outline or table to help you categorize the information. Use headings and subheadings to organize the information and make it easier to compare and contrast.
Okay, for such type of question, when you are listening the audio, you are not familiar which one the answer. So during listening the audio, you should write the keywords on a piece of paper. They gave you a paper for rough work, so you can make heading, subheading, whatever you listen. Just write down the hints, and they will help you to answer the questions. So synonym and paraphrasing is an important thing in IELTS listening. You have to finding the answers. You pay attention to synonyms and paraphrase words. Sometimes they don't put same word in answer. There is a synonym or paraphrase in answer or in audio. So you should develop and practice these things, how to find answer when there is synonym or paraphrase word. Another thing, sometimes we do grammar and sentence structure mistake. So it's a basic thing because this is a test about your English skills. They are going to test your English skills, and in English language skills, grammar, sentence structure, spelling are very important. So avoid doing mistakes about spellings. Don't leave blanks. We study this tip earlier too. We can use a educated guess or something else. We should answer all the questions. Don't leave any question blank. So second one is signpost language. We will do it later. But now we study few tips about classification tasks. So now we are going to do a practice about classification task. So here we have a classification practice. Here we listen the audio and answer the questions. So we have a lengthy audio. It's about 4.5 minutes. Be attentive. As we study the tips, we can write down make a layout while listening the audio because it's a lengthy audio, about 4 and 5 minutes. So listen the audio carefully, listen the question carefully, write the answers in a short form on a rough page, then convert them correctly with no spelling mistake or sentence structure mistake. So as I always told you, read the questions quickly, then listen audio carefully and think what can be its answers. Okay, so I'm going to play the audio, be attentive and write down the answer on piece of page because there are more answers. I think there are 6 answers, 23 to 28. Be ready, let's start it.
You're going to hear a conversation between a university professor and a student about an assignment. Thank you for seeing me at such short notice, Professor Barrett.
Oh, it's no trouble, Emma. Students often want to meet with me at this time in the semester. I gather from your email that you need some advice on your assignment. You chose the child development topic, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. After your comments on my first draft last week, I'm worried I'm on completely the wrong track, and I need to do well. You know, I won't pass this module unless I manage to get a distinction in this essay.
All right. Let's have a look at it and see what you've included and what still needs work. Okay. Yes, I remember. The main problem is that you've chosen to address only one part of the current debate on the topic.
Well, I summarised the nativist belief that children have an instinctive understanding of the laws of nature.
Yes, you did, and that was well written. But if you look at the essay question, you were asked to evaluate different theories. Do you know of any which disagree with nativism?
Well, there's constructivism, where children have to learn about the world around them. But hasn't that theory been superseded? I mean, I didn't think I needed to mention it, because it's been proved wrong.
But neither of the two schools of thought has been accepted without doubt. They are both still theoretical.
Oh, I see. So I should add something about constructivism.
I think it would be wise to do so. That would present a more balanced essay.
All right, I think I can outline constructivism before leading into the section on nativism.
That should read well. Now, let's look at what you did say on the subject of nativist research.
Well, I feel I understand the nativist experiments quite well.
But you seem to have only touched on the results. You really need to show that you've understood their significance.
Oh, I see. Well, okay, I can expand that section.
Now, another important aspect of this topic is the concept of object permanence.
Oh, you mean the idea that something still exists even when you can't see it?
Yes, that was well done. You had a nice explanation of that, so make sure you keep that.
Thanks, Professor. Is there anything else? What about the studies I referred to? Were they okay?
Well, the one thing I did notice is that you've left out the most recent research in this field.
Oh, I thought Bilargian was the most up-to-date.
Actually, no. A little more reading required then.
Yeah, I guess so. Back to the library for me.
Now, the last point about the content of the essay is that your bibliography needs to be more complete. If you look carefully, you'll see that you haven't cross-referenced the sources from your lectures properly. So read your notes again to find the citations.
Yes, I was expecting that. I did rush the draft a little. Well, Professor, this has been very helpful. I don't want to take up any more of your time, but what do you think I should do next?
Well, overall the essay was long enough, so don't worry about the length, but you will need to restructure it to include the other studies.
Okay. Is the format all right? I mean, there can't be many students who give you handwritten essays these days.
That's true. Look, I don't insist on word-processed assignments. As long as I can read the essay, I'm happy.
Well, thanks, Professor. I've still got a fair bit of work to do then. Would I be able to come and see you next week?
Next week isn't great for me. I've got to prepare for a set of lectures. You've still got some time before the due date, haven't you?
Yes. Could we make it in 2 weeks' time? I will finish the second draft by then.
That'll be fine. Let's have a look at it then.
All right. Thanks again, Professor. You've been a great help.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so you have to pick one among these three, A, B, C. So here you should write A, B, or C. Again, here you have to write A, B, or C. What is it? It was included and satisfactory. It was included but needs improvement. It wasn't included. So, what about overview of the native history? It should be A, B, or C.
B.
B. Okay, for an overview of constructive history. So it was A, B, or C. Okay, finding from the nativist experiments. Definition of object permanence.
It is.
Okay. So latest research. What about latest research? We listen it. It was included but needs improvement. I think D or C.
It's C.
Okay. Bibliography.
B.
B. Okay. So first two were wrong and other were right. We are going to see the answers. What it says. You understand, first of all, you should read the instructions carefully. So here the instruction was write A, B, or C. In all options, you have to choose one among these three. What is A? What's B? What's C? So here the answer was A. It was included and satisfactory. So if we go towards the B, the answer was C. It was not included. Okay, so finding B. B means it was included but needs improvement. And for definition of object performance, it was saying it was satisfactory and included. And other thing was latest research, and he was saying it's not. Professor was saying it was not included, so we choose the option C. And for bibliography, the student was also saying that it needs improvement, so the answer was B. Okay, you understand all? You read the question and quickly understand in which way you have to answer, A, B, C, or in which way. So it was a such type of question are called classification questions. You have to classify which answer will come under which category. So the next question type I choose is signpost language. Any one of you know what do you mean by signpost language? Answer me what's the meaning of signpost language. In our today's session, our contents were sentence completion, classification, and signpost language. So we are moving towards the last segment, that is signpost language. It's very much important. You should understand how to use this skill, that is signpost language. Mirna, can you read these few sentences?
Okay. Signpost language is used to help guide the listener through the structure and content of a speech or presentation. Being able to recognize and understand signpost language is essential for success in the IELTS listening test. Here are some tips to help you practice and improve your understanding of signpost language.
Okay, so You have to pay attention to the listener through the structure and content of a speech or presentation. Means how the speaker is saying. Okay, we are going to elaborate it further. Now read it.
Okay, listen to a variety of speeches. Signpost language can be used in many types of speeches, such as academic lectures, business presentations, and political speeches. Listening to a variety of speeches can help you become more familiar with different types of signpost language.
Signpost language means the flow of language on which things the speaker is going to pay stress. So when you listen different type of speakers, so you can understand on which things the speaker is focusing more, and you can identify which signpost language the speaker is using. So to identify it, you can develop your skill by listening different type of speeches and extract what signpost language that speaker is using. For example, identify common phrases. Read it. Maybe.
Identify common phrases. Some common signpost language phrases include firstly, secondly, on the other hand, in conclusion, and finally. Make a list of these phrases and practice recognizing them when you hear them in speeches.
Okay, so these are the examples of signpost language. In signpost language, they use different flow while speaking. One of them is they use different phrases. So when they say firstly, so you should be attentive and write down on which thing he is going to describe next. When he say secondly, so secondly, so it means he is going to describe a different thing apart from the first thing. So you can write it down or understand it about what it's saying. It use the word conclusion. We should understand that now the thing speaker going to speak is the conclusion of the whole discussion. So these are the words which a speaker use while speaking, and you can the, identify them as a signpost language. That when it say firstly, so it's going to describe separate thing. When it say finally, is going to describe another thing. When it says conclusion, so you can be familiar that it's going to end the conversation. So from the voice, you have to identify the points when he is going to change the topic, he is going to summarize the topic, or he is going to describe another thing. So you identify these things by listening the audio carefully and identifying the signpost language the speaker using. Okay, read this one too.
Note the speaker's tone and intonation. The speaker's tone and intonation can help you identify signpost language. For example, a rising tone might indicate that the speaker is introducing a new point, while a falling tone might indicate a conclusion.
So intonation and speaker tone are very much important. You can understand that on which topic speaker is putting more stress, so you can identify that this topic is important and it may be the answer of question. So tone and intonation, you can be familiar with it by doing some practice tests. Practice taking notes. So while practicing, you can improve. Use context clues. We discussed it earlier. You have to identify what the flow of discussion going on. By the flow of discussion, you can identify about which topic they are going to say. Okay, read this. You know.
Okay. Practice summarizing. Signpost language can be used to summarize key points and ideas. Practice summarizing speeches and lectures, paying attention to the speaker's use of signpost language to highlight important information.
Okay, so signpost language are the, you can say, key points while speaking. So you should identify those key points. They can be speaker in tone or intonation. It can be phrases like firstly, secondly, conclusion. So while listening the audio, you should pay attention on these things. Okay, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so here is a practice about signpost language practice exercise. So here we have to use the expression and then find out the best suited word for that expression. We have 8 expressions and we have to find what can be its right sentence for this expression. These are the eight sentences which can be used for these expressions. So one by one we read the expression and then find which one can be used for this expression. Okay, so the first expression is in the lecture we will look at there are three main topics that I will focus on in my talk. So this is the expression speaker is saying this. So from this you have to identify the signpost language. Signpost language. Which signpost language is focusing by this audio? In the lecture today, we will look at there are three main topics that I will focus on in my talk. So, which use can be among this?
Introducing the first topic of the talk or lecture.
New topic, signpost language. So, while listening the audio, you should think that about which topic they are going to say. So, if it's said in the lecture today, we will look, there are three main topics. I will focus on my talk. If he is saying like this, you can think that he is going to explain which topic will be covered in the talk. So these are the expressions. You can guess that which they are going to say by these words. If the speaker is saying, we will begin the lecture by, first of all, let's look at, you can guess that by signpost language that he is going to introduce the first topic of the talk or lecture. If the author is saying, no, let's turn to the question, no, it's next part of the lecture. I would I would not like to evaluate. Now let's move on to when the speaker is saying like this, you should guess that now he is going to change to a new topic. If the speaker is saying, for instance, a well-known example, to give you an example, when you listen such words from the speaker, you should get an idea from this signpost language that he is going to introduce, give an example. If the speaker is saying main obstacle to the argument or the main reason for this, the first advantage is, so you should guess from this signpost language that the speaker is going to give some arguments about supporting his talk. If the speaker is saying another advantage is, the other main disadvantage is, another point of difference is, when you listen such words, you should guess that the speaker is going to introduce an additional main point. So these are the signpost language, and from these language, you should guess about what the speaker is going to say next. So if the speaker is saying, so why do we need? So what exactly is? You might be wondering why. When the author is saying like this, you should guess that he is going to ask a question about the main point that will be answered in the next part of the talk or lecture. So these are the words, these are the signpost language. From the flow of talk, you should guess next what about what the speaker is going to say. Say if the speaker is saying final view, I want to discuss today a final. So from this, you should guess that he is going to conclude the discussion. He is going to talk about the final main point. So now all of you are familiar about signpost language.